Hi, warriors. Welcome to the Warrior Enclave with Bebe and Toro, where we shatter our silence, share our stories, and believe women, period. Today's topic is, it's one of the somber ones. It's one of the more serious ones. And yeah, it has some gravity. So just, content warning. And the topic we're discussing today is strangulation, and how that falls, or how that plays out within the context of domestic violence. I don't even want to spend any time like beating around the bush too much. I'm just gonna go straight to it. Strangulation is a very, very, very Am I stressed it enough? Very serious thing, and should be taken very seriously. If it ever happens, if there's ever risk of it or an attempt of it, it's a very lethal form of domestic violence, because of how quickly things can just turn for the worst
and get out of hand.
So like once you start being strangled, within 10 seconds you can lose consciousness. Within 5 minutes you could actually pass. And I mean, not only that, it is something that is very scary to go through. Research has shown that about 70% of strangulation victims during that event feel like they know, like they feel like they're gonna lose their lives. Like they have a near death experience. They have a tangible brush with the abyss. And it's not to be taken lightly at all. Yeah, I think for something like this, we really need to let the research speak for itself. So we'll just give a little bit of statistics, go through a little bit of some of the statistics that show that, listen, once strangulation happens, that person needs to go to jail. Like, no collecting 200, no passing go, just, it needs like...
Sorry guys, like, to be honest, this is a triggering topic for me. So if you can feel my energy being a little low, it's because like I'm actually, it's triggering. So the first statistic that I would mention now, because it's the most important one, is strangulation is a predictor of future homicide by an intimate partner. And by that we mean boyfriend, fiance, husband, long-term partner, common law partner. That's what we mean. So if any of these people have strangled you before, your chances of being killed later on by these same people goes up 1,000% more than the average person.
In other words, that means that once they've strangled you, it now becomes 10 times more likely that that same person will end your life.
Exactly. And even more importantly, I'll say specifically for those of you in the US, it doesn't even just mean even using the same means of taking your life. So if they've strangled you before, the chances of them later on killing you with a gun goes up 750%. I feel like we all just need to let that sink in. So again, when we say strangulation, like this is no laughing matter. You essentially, when, in cartoons, when we see like the bomb and we see like a timer, that's really what it is. The moment someone has actually put their hands around your neck before, the timer goes off, and then it is really just a countdown to the inevitable. It can be within a few months. Some people even buy their time and wait decades. But you are playing with fire if you remain there. because these are really just the stats and they are clear.
Right. There's no confusion to be had about this. Like, studies have also shown that in situations where there has been an attempt at homicide or an attempt at femicide, in about 45% of those cases, there was a prior non-fatal strangulation that had occurred. So again, like this, the research just speaks for itself. The patterns are clear. Of that 45%, 97% of those, the attempt was manual. So when it comes to, what's the word? I think, is it asphyxiation? Yeah. When it comes to taking someone's life by asphyxiation, there are different ways that can be done. There are other tools that could be used to garrote somebody. But when you have it like manual,
meaning
with hands, if you picture that, usually it's face to face, like the last thing that you're going to see before it's lights out is this abuser's face and this abuser's power over you. So again, I think the stats speak for themselves. They are very somber, like I said earlier. They're very grave, but it needs to be taken so super seriously. Like it's there for us to see as women and femmes, and so we're trying our best here too to just shatter that silence and get the word out, because there are lots of people who right now at this very second are sitting ducks.
I do want to harp on something. Sorry guys, like I am a bit jittery. Like I find I'm pinching myself. I'm just trying to settle myself. So circling back to what you said about the use of hands, I want you guys to understand that it is personal. It's one thing when they use a weapon. It creates a bit of distance between them and the act that they're inflicting on you. By the time the person is using their bare hands to squeeze your neck
and the life out of you
and take your life, they are dead ass. That is personal to them. So again, this thing is no joke. These people are monsters and they know it. And they have no qualms about using their full strength, their full physicality to kill you.
Another thing that needs to be mentioned, I think, is that when it comes to strangulation, it doesn't always have to be in a fit of rage or anger or frustration or like a lash out moment. It doesn't matter how it comes up. It should be taken seriously. So even sometimes some people will try to play it off as if it's in jest, as if it's a joke, or that might be the tool that they will use to gaslight you after they've done it. It could be, oh, I was only joking. Don't let that go. Same thing.
I think I saw it to your point. I think I saw a video of this guy, he and his girlfriend, they were having banter or something, and then he jokingly went for her neck. And she was like stunned and everything, and I was like, oh, I'm just joking. But that is a red flag. When they try and play like they're going for your neck or like doing those kinds of games there, it's dangerous. It's also them testing boundaries, testing what they can get away with. If she hadn't reacted like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Like, he wouldn't have gone the route of, oh, I'm just joking. Do you get what I mean? Like, you have to, these people are sick. So you have to be vigilant with the different ways in which they try to go for your neck, pretty much.
Maneuver and manipulate and then try to gaslight after. Just when it comes to strangulation, just don't even play any games with it. There's no jokes with it. Also during sex, whether it is coming off as some kind of
kink,
not even kink. Sometimes they will do it. Sometimes it comes about like it's some kind of reflex reaction where I'm losing myself. I'm just in the flow, and it's like they've gone for your neck. you know, let's not kink shame. I mean, this is not a kink shaming
before you go
channel,
for next, like these are things that we discuss ahead of time.
Yeah, like
and we get
all
consent
rules
from.
of consent duly apply between consenting adults in safe practice with safe words and all that kind of stuff. Because even with that, like accidents happen so many times. Go ask the crime scene investigators. Go and look at CSI. I'm sure they have some stats on either like erotic asphyxiation or autoerotic asphyxiation. You know, there are fatalities from that.
Yeah, so it's not something that just pops up in the middle of sex. It's something that should be discussed well ahead of time and settled on what the safe words are, you know, and especially not even
what the boundaries are, how it is done, what it is like. Everything needs to be fine printed
for sure. And to be honest, for your safety, I would even say you probably shouldn't even be doing it with someone who's like a one night stand, or do you get like you should be like within the safety of someone who's like maybe a regular with you. You know, don't just do it
with level of trust.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you get? Because these are not the kind of things to joke with at all. You don't know this person. How do you know that even after discussing, you get there? How do we know they're really going to listen to you when you are tapping out and like, you know, enough is enough? Do you get what I mean? So
again, 10 seconds to lose consciousness.
Yeah.
Under 5 minutes to cross.
To lose your life.
So just, there really is, we can't stress it enough. It needs just anything that has to do with strangulation, your sacred neck, you know, just
your throat chakra.
Your throat chakra, like be very vigilant, be very guarding, of that, and like take no bullshit with that.
That's,
yeah.
As with everything we've discussed on here on this channel, I have personal, intimate experience with this too as well. For those of you who've listened to Authenticity Warrior episode 4, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to encourage anyone listening now to go listen to Authenticity Warrior episode 4, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
That's the episode on physical abuse.
Yeah, so it's the episode on physical abuse titled Entrapment. It's the episode that focuses on the physical abuse that I endured in the marriage that I was in the relationship that I was in, that I fled from, the abusive relationship that I fled from. So, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds here, into describing the entirety of the incident where I was strangled. But I would just give like a very, very high level. I'll say I want to focus on the important parts. What I remember about that day was this massive human being who most of you know I've described on the podcast as well, is well over 6 feet. He's about 6'3", 6'4", and he's the size of an NFL linebacker. What I remember was this person barreling over me, grabbing my neck.
So you were on a bed, laying down on a bed, and this individual was straddling over you.
Yeah.
And was
squeezing. What I remember is, because of his sheer size, what I was actually faced with was his chest. I had to even bend my neck to try and get his face because I was so confused. I wanted to look at the person that was essentially taking my life at that point in time. And I looked at his eyes and it was vacant. There was nobody there. And I said to myself, I was like, am I about to lose my life? I could not believe the situation I was in, guys. I don't even know where I got the strength. I I feel like it was even like superhuman strength. I shoved this guy off me. What I remember was just myself stumbling out of the room that we were in. I was disoriented. That is what I remember. I felt like I couldn't even walk straight. Like if someone had put me on a tightrope, I probably would fall off. I
staggered out of the...
Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys remember that scene from Tina Turner's, the Tina Turner movie where Angela Bassett, like, you know, he had finished physically assaulting her in like the limo or something and she stumbled out of there. The way she looked like...
No, it was the room.
Was
where
it
she
the
like
room?
crossed the highway.
Yeah.
There had been an incident of
Yeah.
physical assault, then he fell asleep.
Yeah.
And while he was sleeping, she just like grabbed her stuff and just wandered out onto the highway.
Yeah, but it's just the disorientation of it all. That is what I remember. What was most repulsive to me about that incident was this sick individual painting it as if it was my fault. And, you know, he had just basically said that I pushed him to do that to me and that it was my fault. And this is what I mean when I say the indoctrination that women go through in this world. It is dangerous. It is effing dangerous. The pass that we give to men for their anger, for their dysregulation, for their everything, their disgusting behavior,
their violence, their disrespect, their outbursts.
It is repulsive and people are losing their lives. Sometimes I feel sick not even imagining, just remembering that I was so naive and I was so indoctrinated the way that I was then that I believed that it was because I pushed him to do that to me. I just want to be very clear. For those of you who've listened to the podcast, you already know the full context. There was nothing that I actually did to cause that kind of behavior. But let's even say I had done or said the worst thing you can possibly say to anybody. I'm here to tell you guys that absolutely nothing is so bad that justifies somebody putting their hands around your neck and nearly taking your life, if not for the sheer whatever it is that you have to do to get yourself out of that situation. Because I can tell you, if I did not fight the way that I fought, because with how disoriented I was, who knows how close I was?
10 seconds.
And all these fucking idiots, I'm sorry guys, I have to curse, would say, you know, like how they do in Nigeria, all these, you know, these police officers with their firearms, accidental discharge. It will now be him shouting that it was an accident. He didn't know. That would actually be the nonsense. Just because you cannot control your fucking anger. This whole thing is disgusting to me. And you know what was even all the more repulsive about all of this is this idiot knows that he strangled me. He knows what he did. And wherever he is, I have never used my mouth actually to swear for this guy. But I want to, for the very first time, look at this camera and say, God will punish you for every lie that you have told about this incident. You know what you did. You know what you did. This thing is not a joke, guys. And so I am begging you girls out there, be very careful with these guys. Very careful with them. Because they would do something so sick to you, and it will not faze them. It will not faze them. Let's just pause here.
I don't know how much more serious we could be about yelling and raising the alarm about this, about strangulation. Again, it is a stern warning. We're giving a stern warning to anyone who's been out there who has been strangled to seek help immediately. I just want to highlight one thing about strangulation. Like any other sort of abuse, really, it is about power. It's about domination. And when you have that manual strangulation, that face to face, that like the person literally over you, choking the life out of you, as Bebe said, it is personal. And they are communicating to you very clearly, letting you know that they have deemed that they have the power over you to determine or decide whether you live or you die. Once they make that power move like that, that is, if it's not fatal in that incident, it's still ground that has been covered by them.
They've pushed the boundary.
Yeah, they've gained that much ground, and
the next time there wouldn't be as much hesitation to go for your neck.
Right, and it might not even. Again, they might not even go for your neck the next time. It's that risk of femicide, because that act of strangulation, that was the communication. I decide whether you physically live or die, so act accordingly. So what is your answer to that question when someone looks at you as a sovereign soul and says, no, I get to decide whether you live or die? You remaining there is like, the answer is, are you okay with that? That is the negotiation that has been had there. And how you react to it, how you respond, not even react, how you respond to that incident, that is the indicator of where your footing is in that relationship. That's somebody that has already taken your life into their hands. So however else the actual homicide or femicide plays out, that has already happened. You know, it didn't turn out to be fatal in that physically instance, but it was even spiritually. It was a death. It was that person. You don't do you know. And the thing is, when we say, oh, non-fatal, but non-fatal just means you didn't die. There's so much that can happen in between.
There was still harm inflicted.
Yeah. So not even to talk about like just the violation, the scariness, all of that, the terror of that, the mental scars and wounding that has, but like people suffer from brain injuries. There's statistics on that too, brain injuries in victims of intimate partner violence as a result of things like strangulation and stuff, and it is higher than the rest of them.
To like,
to your physical injury, to like your larynx, your pharynx, your area here, your anatomy there, trouble swallowing. People then, like the mental scars, they have depression, they have dissociation, PTSD, like even suicidality, because again, like the energetic exchange there was one of life and death.
Yeah, you pushed them to that point of death.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So, I don't believe it's only cats that have 9 lives. And they've taken one of your lives, they've taken life from you in a sense. And so it can't be taken lightly at all. The recommendation that the experts give, the recommendations that we give here too, is that if the abuse that you're enduring has escalated to the point of strangulation, escape. Escape. That's it. Escape.
Every moment you spend after that strangulation incident is borrowed time. It is borrowed time.
Yeah. So, I mean, this, like I said, it was a somber topic. We're discussing something very sinister, but no less common. Women and femmes are victims of this over and over and over and over again. And like I said, it is sinister. It is dastardly. It needs to be taken seriously. And, once again, we just want to, before we even encourage you, I want to thank my sister for sharing, shattering silence. It's not just a one-time thing. It's over and over and over and over again. And, the more you circle back to something in the spiral, something different might come up at a different time. But it's important to feel what it is. It's important to be authentic to what it is that you're feeling in the moment. And, we're taking on the labor of trying to share. But if you're able to share, we encourage you to do so. You can reach us at authenticitywarrior@gmail.com. We see you, we hear you, we believe you here. Women and femmes at the Warrior Enclave. We ask that you continue to listen. We ask that you continue to share this information. It is important. It is, it's a labor of love, really, for femininity, essentially. And, it is an honor to put voice to these things. And, we hope that we're reaching and that somebody out there is helped by all of this.
Keep on fighting, y'all.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, warriors.